Imagine staring through the windshield of a cockpit into total darkness. Below you, a turbulent, pitch-black ocean. Your instruments are spinning, the horizon is invisible, and the radio dead. Within minutes, you and your crew will be swallowed completely by the Atlantic. On the afternoon of December 5th, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers departed from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Known as Flight 19, this routine training mission headed straight into a massive expanse of water between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. When air traffic control realized the group was lost and in severe distress, they deployed 2 military rescue planes to track them down. 10 minutes after takeoff, the radio connection with those rescue pilots went dead. Within 30 minutes, 6 heavily equipped military aircraft had vanished. The United States military launched a massive search effort covering over 250,000 square miles of ocean. They found no wreckage, no debris, and no survivors. All 27 men were gone. It is tempting to look at a clear weather departure and assume something otherworldly pulled these experienced crews from the sky. But the true forces operating in this region are firmly rooted in extreme geological and meteorological phenomena. The leader of Flight 19, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, was a veteran with thousands of flight hours. Yet roughly 2 hours into the mission, he became completely disoriented. He firmly believed he was flying over the Florida Keys and directed his squadron northeast to reach the mainland. He was actually miles away, flying over Grand Bahama Island. From an altitude of several thousand feet, the sprawling, fragmented landmass of Grand Bahama bears a striking resemblance to the Florida Keys. In an era before GPS, pilots relied heavily on visual landmarks. But visual misidentification alone does not doom an entire squadron. Taylor's spatial disorientation was compounded by a severe mechanical failure across his flight group. Their compasses stopped pointing to magnetic north. The origin of this navigational interference sits far below the water. Millions of years ago, a massive underwater volcano erupted, forming the island of Bermuda. As the magma from that eruption cooled, it left behind a vast expanse of basalt rock, containing roughly 500 billion tons of naturally occurring magnetite. This immense concentration of magnetic iron warps the local magnetic field, consistently throwing analog compasses off by up to 10 degrees. With their instruments compromised, Flight 19 wandered the Atlantic in the wrong direction until their fuel tanks ran dry. The rescue plan sent after them utilized a model known for dangerous fuel leaks, likely suffering a mid-air explosion before it could ever reach the search grid. A pilot's brief miscalculation turns lethal when hidden, deep-sea geological forces strip away their ability to navigate back to safety. 3 years later, the ocean claimed a different kind of vessel. In January 1948, Captain Brian McMillan piloted the Star Tiger passenger plane toward Bermuda. Facing heavy atmospheric winds, he intentionally lowered his altitude to a dangerous 2,000 feet. At 3:15 a.m., McMillan confidently confirmed his position and an estimated arrival time with Bermuda Air Traffic Control. By 3:50 a.m., his radio went dead. No distress signal was ever broadcast. Researchers point to the ocean floor itself as a potential trigger for these sudden losses. Beneath the seabed, vast quantities of methane gas sit trapped in a frozen state known as methane hydrates. When tectonic shifting or warming destabilizes these deposits, massive plumes of gas erupt towards the surface. When that gas hits the surface, it creates a deadly trap. For ships, the ascending bubbles aerate the water, destroying its density and causing vessels to sink instantly without buoyancy. For low-flying aircraft like the Star Tiger, a concentrated burst of highly flammable methane entering an active engine risks catastrophic, immediate combustion. There is, however, a more mundane explanation. By choosing to fly at just 2,000 feet in the dead of night, a minor misread of the altimeter would have given McMillan only seconds to correct his descent before the plane struck the water. Flying close to the ocean floor forces early aviators into a lethal vulnerability. They are entirely exposed to either sudden environmental volatility rising from the deep or a fatal lack of reaction time. Even when pilots avoid the deep ocean, the atmosphere above it poses a severe threat. In December 1948, Captain Bob Lindquist prepared to depart San Juan in a DC-3 passenger plane. Despite ground crews warning him of a weak battery and a faulty radio transmitter, Lindquist refused to delay the flight. He opted to leave immediately, planning to recharge the battery using the aircraft's generator while airborne. He carried 28 passengers into the night sky on critically low auxiliary power. That lack of power severely restricted the flight's communications. As the DC-3 crossed the Caribbean, its radio signals began acting erratically. Routine location broadcasts failed to reach the Miami Tower just 50 miles away, instead pinging off a station 600 miles away in New Orleans. Soon after, the plane entered a total communications blackout. This image focuses on the massive hurricane system dominating the Atlantic. Hot Saharan air collides with moist ocean air, creating intense atmospheric instability. This spawns sudden, powerful thunderstorms that intensify as they track directly into the Bermuda Triangle. Miami was waiting. It was a thriving, illuminated city ready to receive the DC-3. But the aircraft, flying blind and silent through highly volatile weather systems, never emerged from the dark. This specific environment punishes a single mechanical shortcut with severe, compounding weather conditions, leaving pilots with zero margin for error. Over the past century, researchers estimate up to 100 aircraft have vanished in this region. The vast majority of these losses occurred before the advent of modern GPS, when pilots relied on visual tracking and analog instruments to navigate an incredibly hostile environment. These tragedies are not the result of a single anomaly. They are the product of three intersecting natural hazards: geological magnetic disruption that blinds instruments, unpredictable ocean floor methane releases, and supercharged atmospheric weather systems. And these forces are not static. As global temperatures rise and ocean dynamics shift, the precise environmental conditions that defined this deadly zone may stretch and alter the boundaries of the triangle itself. The Bermuda Triangle requires no supernatural explanation. Its true danger is simply nature's uncompromising indifference to human error and fragile technology.